Kristina. I wore my butterfly earrings today because I was like, what better day? I hadn't found a reason to wear them during Corona because I've been home the whole time, but I was like, I'm going to make it work today.
They have a nice shimmer. I wish I could see everyone at once. I have to, like, on my phone, scroll to see people.
Yeah. You can, well, no, if you have a second phone, you can like see the YouTube if you want.
Wouldn't that echo, I would think?
Oh, just, yeah, lower the volume. Okay, well, it's 10 a.m. So for anybody that's new or is their first time enjoying or being part of San Antonio Entrepreneurship Week, welcome. This is our first year and experience with the community doing it online. We started this in 2016 to celebrate and inspire the community with local stories and perspectives of entrepreneurship. And I think this year is no different. I think more than ever, we need that perspective and those stories to inspire the community and celebrate small business owners. This year, the theme is resilience, and especially with this session, I think we'll be able to kind of like see the innovation of some of the retailers and the brick and mortars that we have in the city. How are they coping and what are they thinking about for next steps? I think it will give perspective to people that are maybe thinking of starting something, and or if they already have something, how are other entrepreneurs taking this step? And what better than female entrepreneurs to do this? So this session is brought to us by, I think it was put together by the Women Business Center, and we thank our sponsors, Live Fund and Economic Development of the City of San Antonio, Open Security, and Trinity University for kind of just being supportive of this celebration every year. And again, we hope that you enjoy and you get the most out of this session. If you have any questions, just please drop it in the chat. There's also, for the people on YouTube, you can drop it in the chat. We'll have somebody funnel those into the Zoom meeting. If you're coming in, we ask that you mute yourselves and you can unmute maybe at the end if you want to interact, but please just be mindful of the session. And I'll kick it off to you, Jordan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan Maney. I'm the owner of All the Days, an inclusive wedding planning firm here in San Antonio. And I will be moderating our panel session today with some of my favorite business owners in the city of San Antonio, talking about the retail experience and how it has been impacted by COVID-19. Before we get started with introductions, I just want everybody that's coming, attendees, to be able to answer a quick poll question. And then I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get to meet our amazing panelists and we can kick off our conversation. So I'll give you a couple minutes. While you're coming in, make sure you grab some water, get comfortable. We'll be here for a little bit, and then we will get started with our conversation. So I'll put like a minute on the clock and let y'all get ready. And I'll have a little sip of tea in the meantime. Also want to thank, like Daniela did, this is produced and hosted by Live Fund's Women's Business Center. But San Antonio Entrepreneurship Week is such a fun time. I can't wait till it's not just virtual, but we can go to sessions again to learn, to network, to really build your community here. And as you'll find during our conversation, it's so important to have systems in place in your business and also in your personal life that can help fortify you while you go on this entrepreneurial journey, because it's a ride, y'all. Okay, so I will end the polling right now so that we can get into this session. Awesome. Okay, so let me introduce you to our wonderful panelists today. I'm going to read their biographies. Try not to roll your eyes, y'all. You have all done amazing things. Okay, let's see. Let's start off with Miss Elsa Fernandez. Hi, Elsa.
Good
She's
morning.
she's a native San Antonian with a bachelor's and master's degree in fashion merchandising. She was the first pop-up turned permanent brick and mortar location with open downtown pop-up shops. And Eye Candy Boutique, it carries clothing from extra large to 3XL with accessories for all in the heart of downtown San Antonio. And she's been doing this for almost 4.5 years. Since moving from downtown, it's now a multi-channel shopping brand focused on providing fashionable ensembles through heyeyecandy.com, pop-up events throughout the city, and a recently opened showroom. She's been on San Antonio Magazine, Tastemaker. She's done so many of these segments for KSAT's variety show, SAEW. She's won a Retailer of the Year for the San Antonio Fashion Awards twice and was voted 2019 Boutique of the Year by the San Antonio Current. She's phenomenal. She's not slowing down anytime soon. Elsa Fernandez is here with us, and I'm excited to be able to talk to her. All right, and then we have Miss Brenda Mulgrew. She is the owner of Night Watch Games, which is an award-winning board game store here in San Antonio. She was in the restaurant industry for 15 years, the last 5 serving as the executive assistant to the owners of Bill Miller's Barbecue. No big deal, right? And then her own company today is celebrating their 4th business anniversary. So claps and snaps for them. That's no small achievement, y'all. So congratulations. And she also earned a North American Power Retailer Award from the Game and Manufacturers Association. She loves the community building potential of entertainment retail, and we will also get into that. So welcome, Brenda. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
And then finally, we have Miss Kristina Uriegas-Reyes, who is the owner of Hello Tallulah, which is the most adorable vintage boutique here in San Antonio. And that wasn't in her bio. That was just me saying that personally. With a retro environment that is colorful and inviting, as you can tell from the picture. And you can't see the little section of wall that I helped paint, but you know, it's there. She has been a part of the thriving local community since 2017, a blogger turned entrepreneur. Kristina left New York City to return to San Antonio and decided to follow her ultimate dream of opening her own boutique. From tea time to 70s glamour, Hello Tallulah has you covered with a collection of highly curated dresses, perfect for any fashion adventure. The shop is a perfect place for self-expression, and there's nothing more unique than vintage. I would highly suggest that you follow her on hello_Tallulah, on Instagram. She always has such cute pics. I mean, like, her eye. I love it. Anyways, thank you so much, Kristina, for joining us today. And then let's get into these questions. Alrighty. So I've asked every panel that I've had so far this question. Actually, before we get into the questions, everybody that's attending here, thank you so much for being here and spending your Thursday morning with us. We are going to do a Q&A session towards the tail end of the panel. So if you have any questions, you can load those into the chat and we will get to those at the end of the session. But with that being said, let's get started. So like I was saying, with every other panel that I've done, the first question I've asked is, what was the moment? Walk us through what that moment was like for you when you knew, like, oh, COVID-19 is going to impact me and my business. What was that like for you? Kristina, do you want to start?
Sure. I know there was a moment before that was always interesting to me that I always remembered is I did a photo shoot with one of my models that I often use to do little shoots and stuff. And I remember her saying something about it. She's like, oh, I'm really freaked out about Corona. I go, oh, it's in China. They'll figure it out. Like, it'll be okay. And that was maybe a month before just everything went nuts. And I realized, every day that I was watching to see when they were going to shut us down, that was when I realized how serious it was. When there was a mandate that we could not be open. We could not keep our store going. So that's when I knew I had to pivot somehow.
What about you, Brenda?
It was a few days after the point that she's referencing. So the mandate had come out. Of course, since our doors were not able to be open to customers, I had all of my employees cleaning. You know, we were just working. And I said, don't worry, we're going to just work through this. We're not going to unemploy anybody. We're not going to furlough anyone. We have plenty of projects to work on. We will just work on projects. And when we're out of projects, we will play games and teach you all games. And then the mandate was updated saying we had to literally send our employees home. Mm. And it was at that moment that I knew I had to make a choice to either unemploy them or furlough them. And people's vocation, being responsible for the vocation of others, is a very important thing to me. The fact that we create jobs. Mm-hmm. And I was powerless and I had to send them home. And that for me was the moment that I realized nothing was going to be the same ever again. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Elsa?
We were actually set up at a pop-up shop probably the week prior to the mandate, and it was March 11th. And one of the local business owners, that was putting together a pop-up of women business owners to like kick off the spring market season. And because my multi-channel system included pop-ups were a big part of what we were going to be doing now. And I distinctly remember that night, they had told us like, bring extra hand sanitizers for everybody. They're like, don't hug your customers, all this stuff. And my customers are very used to like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like we become friends. So it got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to hug you if you don't want to be hugged. And it was so weird. But
was
that
the
same
brick
night,
event?
I'm sorry?
Was that the brick event?
Yes, at Brick. And so that same night was when they announced that Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, had gotten it. And within the span of like 90 minutes, the NBA was somehow suspended. Mm-hmm. It was like the floor just like bottomed out. And we still had 2 other markets that same week. And at that point, they said like, we're still going to continue, we're going to go on. But within the 48 hours, so many vendors started to pop, like to cancel and to back out of the event that they were like, for the safety of everyone, we're not going to do this. It was then that I realized a third of my income stream was going to be non-existent for the foreseeable future. And then the next week was when the mandate came out that we could no longer function as a business. And that was big time. Yeah.
I know it shouldn't be comical, but honestly, I agree, Elsa, when Tom Hanks posted on Instagram, I was like, you're getting Forrest Gump? Like, it's serious.
No boundaries. Corona has no respect.
No respect.
No, I remember that event specifically because I saw Elsa and we were like, no. don't hugs.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so in what ways, you brought up a really good point about pivoting and being a multi-channel business. In what ways did you have to pivot, your business, and what's been the most effective strategy for you so far? Would like to start.
So I was always adamant about having Hello Tallulah be a brick and mortar walk-in try-on store, because with vintage, it's one item, one size, and I want people to walk in feeling like really happy and leave feeling happy with what they purchased. Like, and with online, you can never, you don't get that interaction with your customer, and then you can never know for sure how happy they are with their purchase. So that was always the business idea. And the goal is to have them come in and have events. And I really had to pivot to online sales, which I was not necessarily prepared for. I had built an audience on Instagram and Facebook because I knew how important a brand and social media was, but selling online was new to me. I was more about building the overall brand. Like I would post pictures from photo shoots and inspiration photos versus posting, hey, buy this dress. So that was the first pivot, and that worked initially very well. When people first got their stimulus checks, people were spending a little more money, and now it's slowed down. But I do have customers who were tourists who stop by, who don't live here or who are happy to see items online. So that's been an unknowing positive that I didn't even know that I had customers, that were happy about that. And so pivoting from that to now trying to do appointments has been tough. Online is probably, I would say, the most successful, just because people can do it from home. And the appointments thing, it's my mom, I think, likened it to going to the doctor. She's like, people like to be spontaneous. So it's tough, like trying to make an appointment to go shopping. You don't think of it in those terms.
What about you, Brenda?
Just on her comment, fortunately, I think people are pretty forgiving right now of having to adjust. So I hope that continues to be the case. For us, it was actually very similar. It was that pivot to online sales. But first, before we did that, it was curbside. So we had to, the initial mandate that came out was a little bit vague, and it sort of just said, everybody go home. And my fight or flight instinct kicked in. And I said, I will not go home. I'm not going to abandon my business. So I called the mayor's office every day looking for clarification until 3 days after the initial mandate. They said, okay, you and your husband, the business owners, can stay in your store and you can work from there. So you can create your online store, you can ship from inside your business, you can offer curbside. Your customers that drive to you are not going to get in trouble. There's not enough people to enforce that kind of law anyway. So so that was the pivot for us, and it was very successful.
Good to hear. Elsa?
That's awesome. Yes. So just like Brenda and Kristina, online has been a saving grace. If I had not have taken the extra time to actually revamp the website in last quarter of 2019, I would have been in a more negative headspace, I believe, because it wouldn't have been as easy of a transition. But because I had the website to rely on, and I knew that it was I myself was the one that was updating it consistently or weekly when the new arrivals came in 2019, it had already become a habit. And it was a matter of, okay, well, people can't come into the showroom right now, so it's going to be all online. And I had to it was almost like retraining customers on how to interact with me or how to buy from Eye Candy. So it was a bunch of promoting the website, and we didn't have anything else to rely on. So that's what we moved towards. And then once the online orders started to come in more consistently, then I started offering delivery, because the days where I had designated to be in the showroom for appointments, I no longer had to be tied down to the physical location. And I would use that to get the goods to the customers quicker through a delivery days. Now that we're back after 12 weeks of being online only, now that we're starting to accept appointments now, it's kind of a balance. I'm trying to find like which days I'm going to do delivery and which days I'm going to be here doing appointments. So it's kind of learning to balance the whole teeter-totter of the multi-channel options now.
Yeah. So I have a question. All of you have done such a good job of targeting a specific audience and then building a community around that. And Kristina, you brought up a great point of presence and how like so much of the experience of shopping is coming into the store. And I know, Brenda, like you do a lot of events. You do a lot of events at the store. So have you been able to translate like the physical presence and interactive gathering to online at all? Or have you found some alternatives for that?
Do you want to start, Kristina?
I mean, that's really interesting because I had a lot of ideas, when this all first started, but you also get really like bogged down by like watching the news, and you just, because I had this idea, I'm like, I'm going to do tea time, Facebook Live, and like hair tutorials and like all this stuff. And it was actually harder to keep up the presence, I think, while watching the news every day, not having a specific schedule in place and a routine. So, I mean, the only community I would say right now we have is people commenting when I post things that people tried on or like wore, like people send me the photos that they've worn their outfits, and then people are like, oh, they look great. And so it's a very positive space. I think my Instagram, I recently had a body positivity post, and that probably got the most likes out of anything I've posted in a while, and people were commenting and sharing it. And I love that. I loved that there was some sort of community around it.
Agreed. I can honestly say no, it did not happen. We did not successfully run any kind of online programs. One, because I think you're irreplaceable, the in-person interactions with your friends. And our community it's a borderline family. It really is. It's like Cheers, you know, where everybody knows your name, except for it's board games instead of beer. There just is no replacing that, and trying to do so, I think, would have just been futile. So we spent all of our time and all of our energy in facilitating, well, one, in educating ourselves. That was the number one thing that we did, was read everything, research everything, try to get the best answer to give people who were looking to us, say, when is this going to be over? Like, you know, I'm not the professional here in that field. So, but we tried to educate ourselves first. And then of course, curbside happened pretty easily because that's just a Facebook announcement. But then people want to know, well, how do I pick? You know, you have over 10,000 SKUs in your store. How do I choose what I want? So that was rocky, but then we devoted every second, like 18 hours a day, I'm not even exaggerating, to getting descriptions and photos. You know, the transfer of the SKUs to the online store, that's a button, right? But they're blank. They have no picture, they have no description, there's no SEO optimization. So that was full-time work for about 2 weeks straight.
Elsa?
So yeah, there was no room in our lives for hosting a role-playing game online. I was like, I'm working.
Yeah.
I can honestly, my answer would be a combo of what Brenda and Kristina are saying, because when we revamped the website at like holiday season 2019, like Brenda was saying, we used to have, it was just like pictures, you want to buy it, you don't, it's XL to 3X, blah, blah, blah. But now we have like sizing, a 1X equals this in this brand. Because the way that boutiques work, you get it from different manufacturers. So almost like vintage, like a size 12 is not going to be the same size 12 that this brand has. So the measurements are different. So we, like, I say we, but it's me, like I'm the only person. I had to go through and write like a different description and where you could wear it and all this stuff and styling ideas, and then the sizing, then if it runs big or small. So that was definitely something that took our time, but also like Kristina was saying, the answer that she gave was perfect about you have to function both as like a human, but then also as a brand, and trying to get over the heaviness of everything that is happening is so hard to put on like a happy face and be like, guess what? We got these new arrivals, but all this other stuff is happening. And one of our other friends, Kristina from Social Butterfly Gal, she said it amazing. Like, you just have to acknowledge it at least, so people know. Obviously, you know, but people want to know that you know that this is going on, and that we're still functioning. Like, brands are allowed to be human, and I think sometimes that's hard for me to accept and just be like, okay, this is what we're going through, but you're also going to need clothes, and at a certain point, you're going to get tired of wearing the same things every day, and you want to dress up to make yourself feel nice. So let me help you do that. But I went through a period of trying stuff like Kristina saying, like the hair tutorials, the makeup tutorials, because I don't want it to be, especially on social media, I don't want it to be like, buy. We take all this time in brick and mortars to establish these relationships with our customers that I don't want it to be like we're throwing stuff at them. I want it to be purpose filled. And so I think finding that balance has been the hardest thing. But in April, we did set up an Instagram live to celebrate our 5th birthday, because we turned 5. And normally it would coincide with the week of Fiesta. So it was like a really exciting, happy time, but also really depressing because there was no Fiesta. But I was happy that when we did the live and we did the Instagram, it was like hour and a half. And we had a lot of the customers that would normally show up to our birthday party that we would have downtown to the live. So we felt that kind of community. It was just in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so seen right now. It's like you don't always get to talk to other business owners too and hear the struggles they're going through.
Yeah.
And it's like when it's just you, you're like, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. And so much of this time has really scrubbed away the shimmer and shine of just like kind of being like polished and very on brand and stuff like that. When, you know, like I've had client meetings where my dog like comes and just like is like attacking my face. And I'm like, yes, we can definitely like trying to, you know, you're like you said, you're allowed to be human. And what I want to kind of transition to quickly, what are some of the systems that you had to put in place for yourself personally? Because like you guys said, like your business is really like your intellectual property, right? And so when you're out of whack, it's out of whack. So what did you have to put into place so that you could be functional and productive and keep pushing through?
It's funny that you mentioned that, being human and being out of whack, because it's literally just me at the store. There was one day that I was working on my taxes, I think, and someone came in and I thought I was being friendly, but they left a bad review and they said I didn't say hello, I wasn't kid friendly, all this stuff. And I was just like bawling, like I was devastated. Like when it's you and your brand, it affects you so much. And I wrote this response that was like, I'm so sorry. I was very anxious that day and I was going through some things. And I think people now are, like Brenda said, more forgiving, hopefully, because we're all going through things right now. And as a brand, you want it to be an escape for people, but also acknowledge that, you know, stuff's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I have in place? How did I get through everything? Initially, it was just keeping the routine, I think, just going in, but it's easy just to sleep late after a while. So I don't know, my pets.
That's a good system to have in place.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to stay positive. It definitely makes you feel better if you get dressed up. Like Elsa said, like even if you're staying home, you want to get dressed. Like I got dressed up for you guys today. And I feel very
that's cute.
Fluffy. and it makes me really happy. And I hope if people buy vintage, whether by appointment or online, it can make them feel happy.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
We're so different. I just not a person that pays attention to the physical as much. But when it comes to my business, I am all in. I am paying attention to everything. I'm like a helicopter mom with my business. So one thing that we did to help us get through it was, one, we communicate, and I'm referring to, because I can see him over there in his robe having a cup of coffee. My husband, who is my best friend and my soulmate and my business partner. And so we made sure to keep communication wide open. Because if we are feeling a certain way or thinking of a good idea and we don't share it with each other, what are we going to do? We believe that our successful business, and maybe every business doesn't need this, but the partnership is what makes us so strong, because we are very different people. We bring different strengths to the table, and our strengths actually complement each other's weaknesses. So if it was just me, you know, our business might look like IKEA on the inside. Fortunately, we have Poruk, who's the creative and the romantic, and so he brings a lot. But the point is that in order to get through this, we had to come together even more than before. So one thing we did was, instead of me working from home, which I had tended to be doing before this, we revamped our office took out the nap couch that was in there and brought in a second desk and a second computer. And every day, no days off, from noon till midnight, we would be sitting across from each other, facing each other, and just working. Bless you.
Thank you. I actually
Bless
wanted
you.
to add that although it's me alone with the business, it doesn't mean we don't have a support system in place. You know, my boyfriend's the one going with me to estate sales, which we just started being able to go to again. And my mom will help me like get whatever I need, or when I was doing events, she would help me like transport stuff in my car. So it is really important to have a support system in place.
Mhm. So I would love to say that
It takes a village.
so that we can like do yoga on Saturdays or go hiking on Friday. No, it didn't happen. We weren't.
But that's so honest. That's what people really need to hear. Because again, it's so easy to be like, oh my God, I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning and swim with the dolphins, and then I do an hour of meditation. And no, we're rolling out of bed at 12:15, disheveled, trying to figure stuff out. We're anxious too. Like you all have said, we're all human. So I'm sorry. And give your answer.
Oh, well, I was just going to add that it took me, I admire Brenda because I did not have that mentality of like this hour to this hour. I am a natural night owl, and my sleep schedule got messed up within a matter of like 3 days. And it turned into the later I went to bed, the later I would wake up, and I would still work on it. I'll work on the stuff. It would just be like me working until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. instead of working until like, you know, more reasonable hours. So I think the thing that has gotten, especially because we have that flexibility with the online platform. So I think now the thing that's helping me get into a routine is like, okay, well, I have this day designated for deliveries, so I got to be here by a certain time. And now that I started to do appointments, like I already have a rigid time frame of when I need to be at the showroom from this time to this time. So it's definitely easy to lose track. If I had to do it over, maybe I would have set more alarms and been like, okay, I need to be at this place by, 9 or 10, but it just wasn't realistic for me and the way I needed to process things.
Yeah, 2 o'clock in the afternoon might be morning to you, but to that customer who sent you a message at 8 a.m. thinking you would get it any second, when you don't reply until 4 p.m. in the afternoon, because you've just now finished your coffee and breakfast, they're like, hey, I need you, I need an answer.
Yeah.
And since I started doing appointments and I had customers just show up, I'm within walking distance to my store, so it's not a problem for me to get there, but it takes about 15 minutes to walk there. So now I'm starting the routine so that I'm ready, once my hours start, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask one more. We're going to do our poll question / break for y'all so you can get some water if you need some. Have there been any positives that have come about because of the changes you had to make? You can be honest if there aren't.
There was a small glitch. Would you repeat the question?
Yeah, I said, have there been any positives that have come about because of the changes that you had to make? And you can be totally honest if it's not been positive.
I really thought about this one. Just the only positive I could think about is that I realized that you don't have to be in my store for it to make you happy. And that really touched me because there were people that were buying things that were not from San Antonio, or the fact that one of my regular customers, when I finally did open for appointments, she was ecstatic to be there. I could really feel the appreciation for my shop. Like, she's like, you're the first adult woman I've talked to, and I'm so excited to try things on. And she brought her mom, and it was like a whole event. And so the positivity I felt from the public, even when I'm at home, in bed feeling anxious and like, no one's ever going to remember my store or come to it ever again. It's been nice to at least see that reaction.
Sort of the same for us. The online store was something that every day as we were putting in 15 hours a day into trying to get it to be user-friendly and acceptable and as good as other online stores. The whole time we're thinking, as soon as this is all over, all this work is going to be for nothing. But the overwhelming positive response about customers who maybe don't live within 15 minutes of us, being able to check to see if we have something in stock or just browse through the inventory, because it's huge. They really like it, be able to see pictures, to read about it, to know what the street date is going to be for that item. So we're keeping it, and that has been an improvement to our brand.
Elsa, did you already go?
I would say it's more of the human for us, realize how strong the connection that I had made with my customers was until I see them every 2 weeks when they would come in. And now slowly but surely when they're making the appointments, it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And just like catching up and having that to really know, like, okay, this is my why, this is my purpose, and having it become, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, you're like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Like, this is I don't know. It kind of reinvigorates me knowing that it's the right path.
Mm-hmm.
On a personal note, I think because we were, or at least I was self-isolating for a good number of weeks, even just going somewhere and making eye contact and smiling through your mask becomes so much more special because you haven't had that in so long. So those are the positives for me.
I love that. I'm a relentless optimist, so I love hearing those types of things. So we're going to launch a poll question, and panelists, as well as attendees, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. If you want to go grab some water or stand up and stretch, that I'll put 2 minutes on for the poll question, and then we will continue our conversation and then launch into the Q&A. So I will see y'all in 2.
I saw a nice comment left, but I don't know how to access it or see it. Like, it just popped up.
Do you have the chat function?
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom, if you're on your phone, you can look at the bottom of the dashboard and hit chat. And you can tailor who you're sending the message to as well. Lisa said, I love the vibe you are all providing. Thank you for this today. So I wanted to say thank you to her.
Oh, I think that was probably what I saw.
I said, glad you join us. Oh, goodness. Glad you could join us. I'm sorry. I know how to spell, I promise. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. So we got 20 seconds left, and then we will finish the rest of our awesome conversation. Thank you all so much for your answers so far. They've been lovely and honest. I think that's what a lot of people need to hear right now, is not just, everything's going to be fine. Let's tell the truth. Let's be honest. All right. Awesome.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay. So we have finished polling. Let's get into the second half of the questions. So we talked about personal systems. Have there been any other systems besides just, the transition to online? Have there been any other systems that you've had to put in place for your business to just run optimally?
What kind of systems exactly?
Sales funnels, new marketing, email marketing or something like that. Things that you just had to change or add that you didn't have before.
I probably should have. I should have started a marketing campaign with email, and I know Square offers gift cards, but you have to pay for them. So I offer gift cards, but I just make them myself. So in terms of, I thought you were thinking in terms of cleaning and rules in
That could be
place.
what you do, yeah.
We also, I thought long and hard about what kind of rules I wanted to put in place to make the store safe for people. Because I was like, there's so many places that they aren't wearing masks. Are people going to get mad? Are they going to like get angry with me? So I came up with a small set of rules and a set of people that I would allow in there. And I always sanitize the door handles every time they come in or leave. And then with the clothes, I'll steam it after they try it on. So to kill any stuff. So those are new things I have in place. And I always say right now, the world is probably the cleanest it's ever been. But
It's true. Oh my goodness.
so it's just, trying to figure out how to keep the store even cleaner than usual and keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a cuckoo clock, an old vintage German cuckoo clock. And so the employees know that at the chime of the cuckoo clock, we have to sanitize all the bathroom faucets, the water faucet, which really nobody is drinking from. We have set cups up and a sign that says you have to use the cup if you want to use the water fountain. So there's disposable cups. And of course, we're providing masks and sanitizer and things like that. So yeah, we're doing all the cleaning thing hourly. And but I'd say the number one thing that has definitely changed about our business that we implemented for the purpose of the quarantine was curbside. And there are a lot of customers that still want to utilize our curbside service. And so we're happy to keep offering it.
Awesome. Elsa?
So because we were transitioning to a showroom that was going to be by appointment only at the beginning of the year, a lot of the research that I would have done to implement the appointments now during COVID, I did back in January, but it was a lot of researching on what kind of booking systems were going to be easiest for my customers and how I could integrate them into the way that we market to customers. So were they going to be able to book an appointment through Instagram and Facebook and the website? And how easy, like how many clicks would it take in order for them to set up a time? And would it have a description? Would they get a text message reminder? Because what I didn't want to happen was for me to be at the showroom all day and people forget to show up to their appointment. When I could have been, somewhere else concentrating, taking photos for the website or spending my time more wisely. So the implementation of GenBook has been really helpful, and that's something that changed the way that we book appointments completely. The other thing, like I talked about earlier, was offering delivery instead of shipping. What I noticed is more people are apt to purchase online if the shipping is free. People will pay more for clothing if the shipping is free than use a discount and pay for shipping. So I've been offering free shipping for a while, but after once where I almost spent $100 in shipping to places that were in the city, I was like, why am I not just driving the people their items? They're going to get it quicker. And of course I try to support USPS as much as I can, but I'm also a small business trying to make smarter decisions. So offering that delivery service was a system that I had to learn, because I also had to map it out and be like, okay, well, I have a chunk of customers, by 1604 and 151. Then I have a chunk of customers by Windcrest and some more by the Southeast side. So I had to be smart on how to make it all happen. So those were the two systems that I put into play. Now that I'm doing appointments, it's also like the girls were saying on sanitization and between customers, how I'm going to treat the clothing that has been tried on. And, like the doorknobs and the use of credit cards and gift cards only, as opposed to accepting cash as well. So
yeah,
that's what we've been doing.
You brought up such a good point about shipping. There have been so many times where I'm like, I'm going to spend $350 on this, $5.99 shipping. Like, cancel the cart. I don't know why. But also, Brenda, like when you said the cuckoo clock, I just imagine if y'all don't have like a little work song when it comes to reading, I would die. I would love I would love that. That's so precious. I love it. And it probably helps everybody like keep, I don't know, gives them something to look forward to, but also probably keeps their morale up too. Because you have to find those ways to just like laugh and get through the day because news. Okay.
We work in a game store, so
Yeah.
finding reasons to laugh is not difficult for us.
Exactly.
Our whole reason for living is games.
Exactly. You can gamify the day. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so if there are additional waves of COVID-19, do you think the strategies that you've put in place will help you weather it? Or do you have other ideas of how you'd like to pivot?
I think I would just ramp up my online. I sell on Instagram and Facebook primarily, and through Instagram stories. And so if someone might not see something the first time. So I like to feature things that maybe was overlooked in the store shopping or through Instagram stories. So I would just ramp it up so that it was more of a daily thing with new items posted on Instagram and Facebook all the time. Then right now, I mean, there are moments, like we said, human moments where we're getting lazy and I have to go photograph the things and walk to the store and it's so hot outside. And but, I really have to get focused again. Like I was so focused when it all started. But now, even now, I mean, we're not exactly in a second wave, but it's getting worse. So I don't know if appointments is going to work. I hope people come and I'm really excited to see everyone's face. But I definitely have to ramp up the online.
Mhm.
I think the foundation has been set now. So we've done the work for Night Watch Games. We've done the work. So if a second quarantine were to happen, we've got the systems in place now to be successful. What we have started is a podcast. The Night Watch Games podcast is the name of it. And you can find it on all of the platforms that offer podcasts. And we've already completed season 1, and we are delving into why do people play the games they play? Why do they play where they play? Why do they play with whom they play? So we're taking a metaphysical approach to our business and turning that into a platform that we can focus on when we can't sit at the table across from each other and play games.
And that's a great response to the earlier question I had about how do you translate physical to online, because you're keeping that conversation going. And I'm sure for a lot of your customers, it makes them feel like they're at the table in the store with you. So that's
we just
awesome.
didn't have time before. We were so busy getting the foundation in place for being online, which is not what we want to be.
I know. I miss people. I'm such an introvert, but I'm like, I just miss people. Also,
my favorite thing is getting people to seeing people try stuff on. That's like my favorite thing in the whole world. And then like them coming out with this look on their face where they're like it's perfect. And you don't get that from online. Go ahead, Elsa, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I kind of lost track of the question. Well, if there were additional waves, yes. So like Brenda said, the foundation has kind of been set. So like, obviously it's just going to be a transition back to online if we have to stop taking appointments again. The thing I would do differently now that, hindsight is 2020, I would try to get out of my own way and integrate more Instagram lives. That's still something that I'm not the most comfortable with, but I know that it would help. So not like integrating them as a whole, but just being more consistent with it. I think consistency is going to be key when it comes to being creative in getting people to the online website. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's a term, I can't remember who came up with it, on-time learning, about like sometimes we stress about our to-do lists are endless, right? But sometimes we stress about things that we don't need to learn just yet. But when we get to it, if it's Instagram Live or if it's learning how to automate more emails or whatever, like we'll figure it out when we get there. So don't stress yourself out. And that's a note to attendees too. Like there is enough to stress you out already. You don't have to add to that. Okay, so what do you know now that you would have wished you or others in your industry knew before all of this hit?
Before this hit.
I think it would be a matter of, sorry to cut you off, Kristina. No, I think, yeah, just how to communicate with your customers, because we're all pretty much going through the same thing. We're just experiencing them at different levels, but to be able to relate to them and to be able to convey the message to them, I think is really important. And that's not really something I had to do before. So you kind of have to learn how to talk about not so pleasant things with your customers when you're used to just like rainbows and glitter all the time, because that's what they come shopping for, or what they go to play games for, is like an escape for them. But you can't really escape from the everyday reality. So you kind of have to meet them where they are.
Yeah, it's like when people come in for appointments and we don't say the word Corona, we're just like, with all this craziness going on, how are you been? So I don't know if we could have changed anything knowing what we know now. Honestly, I think all of us have been really good at building our brand and having very strong customer relations. And I think that's probably what helped us sustain ourselves up until this point. And I don't know if we could have changed anything or have known anything that would have changed that.
I think for Night Watch Games, we're in a very fortunate position to be a partnership. And one of us, not me, is an empath. And he really is very just ultra empathetic to people and their situations and what's affecting them. And so he kept me from maybe stepping my foot in it by being too positive or making light of the situation, which I tend to do because I just want people to laugh and have fun. So, and he would say, no, that might be misconstrued as insensitive to the people that are suffering. And so, again, just that good partnership. But something that we learned, to answer the question specifically, was how effective building your brand and offering yourselves in a non-sales related way, how far that goes with people. You know, so it's not always, hey, this is on sale. Hey, this is new to the table. Hey, this is new to our shelves. These are on clearance right now. But just offering content that's not related to spending money. And we've learned just how far that goes. And one of the ways we did learn that, by the way, was something I think all of you ladies out there will appreciate, is a YouTube channel by Bob Phibbs. It's a Phibbs, and his channel is called The Retail Doctor. And the guy just has amazing advice for people that work retail and own retail businesses.
The Retail Doctor on YouTube.
The Retail Doctor.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people said at the very beginning, we're all in the same boat. And I was always, to your point, Elsa, I think we're all in the same storm, but we all have vastly different vessels. So we're all just trying to like figure it out and weather it. And to your point, Brenda, too, like I'm the same way, where I want to be optimistic all the time and tell everybody you're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. But sometimes you need sometimes people aren't looking for you to like fix it. They just want you to hear them.
Listen.
So that's really awesome that you've been able to, all of you have been able to create these communities around your brand. So where they're just like, we want to hear from you. We want to see you. You know, that's beautiful. And I really think that's what business is all about.
I mean, even before this, hello, Tallulah, some of you might not know, Tallulah was my doggie, and she was with the store, and she passed away last year. And she was very, very special to me and to my customers at the store. And they all rallied. I had customers bring me paintings that they had done, like their kids. It was the sweetest thing ever, that community. And then now I've had customers who bought things and then they went to their closet and they donated them back for me to resell during this time.
Wow.
And with vintage, you can have multiple lives like that. Like another customer, she had bad memories associated with them. So I sold them. I almost resold them to her because so I sold them to someone, then they brought them back for me to resell as a gift. And then they were like, oh, I really like that dress. But yeah, so I almost resold it to them, but we remembered. But yeah, just that community is so important to build with your customers on a personal level. Like, I mean, I've made some of my really, really good friends just from my customers.
Mhm.
And it is kind of a weird relationship sometimes because you are always like, oh, look, new items. And you almost want to feel bad if they're spending a lot of money. You're like, oh gosh, you're spending so much. Like, because you're their friend. But it's also very rewarding to have customers that are your friends as well.
That's so true. Love that. Okay, so I just want to remind the attendees, if you have a question, please put that in the chat. We want to get to those at the tail end of our session. And I have a few more questions to get to, and then we will move forward to the Q&A. So what does the future look like for you, and how have all of your projections adjusted because of coronavirus?
I know it's a new world and everything's different than what it was, and things will never be exactly the same, but I'm hoping to be back open full time to what our normal hours were, because that's what made people happy. I mean, especially weekend hours, people could come in, and I used to do events. Sorry, I'm like, these are run-on sentences, but I had a Mother's Day event and Galentine's event, and those were my two biggest events of the year. And Mother's Day had to be canceled this year, the Mother's Day event. And it was so cool because people would bring their mom and their grandmothers after brunch. And I just missed that human interaction. And I could serve people drinks and like have a little party and stuff. And so I really, really genuinely hope that we can get back to that, back to people playing dress up in my store and trying things on for fun. Online is really great, and I appreciate all the support, and even appointments, you still get that feeling of, I mean, I redecorated my store too, so it's like even cuter. So I hope you get that happy feeling. So I don't want to say I hope we go back to the way it was, because it never will be, but I hope we go back to being able to see people and trying things on.
I hope we go to something better.
We will, and now their hands are going to be clean. So I can say without hesitation and without fear of being positive, the future is bright. We are all coming together. With the COVID and with the recent political events, there is no doubt in my mind that the world is becoming a more actualized, more empathetic. The people in the world are becoming more actualized, more empathetic, and are coming together. And those who are not are going to become obsolete, because you have to open your eyes and just look forward and see goodness coming. And it's difficult to see that right now when everything is so uncertain, and everything you see on the news just makes your heart hurt. But on a personal level, because of the initiatives of the government to help small businesses, and I hope this is okay to say here, but we are in a better financial situation than we have ever been in before, business and personal. We took advantage of the systems that were put out there, the funds, the grants, Lift Fund. We were one of your recipients. And by the way, that was an incredible gesture. And it gave me the opportunity to look more into the Bexar County Lift Fund and see what they're about, and then all the other affiliated organizations. And it inspired me to get more involved with helping other people. Just, while I have to focus on my little business here, it's been nothing but, no, that's not true. There's been a lot of hardship, and we've lost some people that were close to us. But the future, and this is what Jordan asked, is very bright.
I'm glad to hear that.
That's amazing. To play off of what Brenda is saying, I think we are all now a little more awake to what's going on around us, whether we want to be or not, because we're seeing things day in and day out. And because of the fact that Eye Candy Boutique as a whole was in a transition before any of this happened, I think it helped me be more nimble as to what we're doing now and what the rest of 2020 is going to look like. So my hopes would be that I will be able to, I mean, right now I'm only online and in the showroom, but the initial proposal was to be multi-channel, at least like 4 different channels. So as we work more into bringing those to fruition, best case scenario is that I would be able to bring all 4, but because pop-ups don't look like they're going to be happening anytime within 2020, or at least before the vaccine happens, it's probably going to be a while for that to happen. So it's kind of just like rolling with the punches right now.
Kristina?
What? No, I already-
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh my goodness, it's hard to keep track. Okay, so the theme around this year San Antonio Entrepreneurship Week is resilience and how we bounce back. And I think it's so awesome, Brenda, that you brought up, you know, Lift Funds Women's Business Center, Launch SA, the Small Business Development Center out of UTSA. Our community, our small business community is so resilient for one, but there are so many resources available to all of the business owners in this city. It's wild to me, like free resources, free business advisors, free business consultations, learning about access to capital, business credit, all of these things. And if you are any of our attendees or anybody you play, if you are looking for resources, or maybe you want to, you know, use this time to bulk up your knowledge, take all the seminars, look at all of the webinars. It's free and it's available to you, and it's only going to make you better. And I feel like I've met most of you, pretty much everybody that's on a panel, I feel like I've met through an event at Launch SA or Lift Fund or, you know, Small Business Development Center or something like that. But our community is so strong and we pour into each other emotionally and financially, because I mean, that's how we stay relevant and alive. But yeah, like it is it is really heartwarming to see, like you were saying, Brenda, like people are becoming more empathetic and we're listening to each other more, and we're really like sticking our neck out for one another and saying like, how can I help? What do you need? I'm here. So I just wanted to give a little bit of encouragement to the people watching. If you're thinking about starting a business, or you're in business already, or know someone who's in business, our community is so resilient. And if you want to get connected, you need to get connected to the community. It's so accessible. Please go to all of the websites for all the resources I just listed after this, so that you can get plugged in. Okay, so what has been the overall lesson for all of you during this time? What was something that you didn't realize you needed to learn, or you didn't want to learn, but you did?
I think it was definitely a lesson that selling online is a channel that I should have explored from the beginning. Even though it wasn't what I wanted primarily for my business, I should have explored it more from the beginning, because I didn't realize that there's such an audience there. All I could think was that there's so many vintage sellers online, there's so much competition, but when you have a built-in audience already built in for your brand, they want to see what you're offering, or if they've been there once, like I said. And so, yeah, that's something that I've developed for a long, developing the brand. And now I'm starting to develop selling online and just learning the best way to do that, whether it's hashtags or Instagram stories. I have not explored, I have done Instagram Live quite a bit, but not so much Facebook Live. So that's maybe something I need to explore still. And I see that definitely works for other people. And I think I was going to say earlier about the things that you listed. I know that we both share the same advisor. at the Small Business Development Center, Crystal Darby, and I literally would not have been able to do the things that I've done without her. Trying to navigate the PPP and the unemployment and everything. And people don't realize that you have these free resources, and it's incredible.
Yeah. We call ourselves, I think I'm the only one who calls ourselves this, hashtag Darby Darlings, because she's
I didn't know that, but yeah.
I'm the only one who called. I love it. Anyways, but she's great. And even, you know, Lift Fund had some really great sessions on how to understand the PPP. And if I didn't have my advisor and I didn't know about these resources, I don't know how I would have managed like understanding everything that was going on, because there are so many moving parts. You know,
And everything new that's coming up, like constantly, they're getting new information.
Yeah. So what about you, Brenda? I'm sorry, back to the question. What about the overall lesson in all of this for you?
The overall lesson for me, let me give you a little bit of backstory there. My husband is definitely the more social of the two of us. He was the gamer first. He's been doing this for a long time. I've always sort of just had my head down and run businesses. And so I learned that. Now I will tell you this, that first couple of days when we had to lock the doors and it was just silent in there was really nice. Because we tend to be a loud business. We're open from noon to midnight. You know, we have 50, 60 people and they're laughing, playing games at a time, and shopping, and the dogs are there. We bring our dogs to work and we're there and the employees are there. And so it's this loud, alive feeling. Feels like a bar, like I said, but no alcohol. You know, but everybody's in it and they're immersed and they're enjoying themselves. And so as a person who enjoys silence a lot, I enjoyed that. But there is no mistaking in my mind now that we could ever just be a retail location.
Mm-hmm.
Night Watch Games, the backbone of Night Watch Games is the people that patronize our store. It is the community that we have built, that they have built. We are an army. I mean, we are an army together. We're a tribe. And, you know, on our website, we say, you know, Night Watch Games, come find your tribe, because you are not just going to make friends there. You are going to make people that you can rely on. You're going to just find an amazing connection. And there's no doubt Night Watch Games would not be Night Watch Games without the people that come in our store.
I love that.
Yeah.
Elsa?
Brenda's got me wanting to go play some games.
Right?
He literally knew my boyfriend by name. So I thought that was incredible. I was like, he has such a community.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things that is, somebody says, how do you always remember all of our names? I said, because the brain puts at the front of your brain what is important.
Mm-hmm.
So you can recall important facts, right? Something that's not so important, like what shirt he was wearing or where he said he worked. That's going to go way back into the filing cabinet of my brain. Like, I don't need to know that. But his face, his name, and what games he plays are essential for me to know. So I retain them.
That's true. I think I don't always remember people's names, but I remember their size and their style and the kind of things that they loved. I'm just bad with names, but I'll remember the face and how they felt when they tried something on.
That's so true.
That personal touch is something that cannot be outsourced. That's not something that can be automated. That's not something that a big company will ever be able to replicate.
And Amazon doesn't give that to you.
You know, it's something that's so special about small business. And I love that. What about you, Elsa?
Yeah, one of my favorite things is when customers come in and they're surprised, even if it's just one time, they're surprised that I remember their name and why they were shopping. They're like, are you a robot? What is going on? How do you remember all this stuff? But I'll remember if they came in and they were like looking for something for a first date or looking for something for their like niece's quince. So I'll ask, oh, how was your niece's quince like 4 months ago or something like that? And they're like, oh my God. But it's definitely that. Don't ask me what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember names and what they tried on and like where they were going that they needed an outfit. So that's also one of my favorite things. And I'm glad we're able to connect on that. But as far as an overarching lesson, for me personally, I'm very much of like, I don't want to do it unless it's going to be great or it's going to be done well. But I've had to get into the habit of just doing it scared. It's not going to be perfect, but we're in the times where we just have to try it out to see if it's going to stick. Like, you're just throwing stuff at a wall to see if it's going to work. If it works, you go with it and then you can perfect it, but you're not going to know if it's going to work if you don't at least give it a shot. So
that's so true, because the thing that held me back from doing online from the beginning, yes, I wanted the brick and mortar, but I was like, I'm not a photographer. The pictures are not going to be perfect. The lighting's not going to be perfect. And that has held me back from online for my whole adult life, like with vintage stuff. And it's easier when you can see things, like it's easier with a brick and mortar because you can fix the little things every day. But once something is out in the world with a photo or something, you're like, oh, it doesn't look as good. But you're right. Throw things at the wall right now. It's Corona. You got to we're figuring it out.
I would say like hashtag might as well, because like it's just that urgent, and it's just that time of like all of you have said, people are so forgiving. The customers that come to you and trust you are so forgiving. They understand that you are going through it too. So you might as well just try and see what works. I did want to get to the poll question about retail precautions. So we asked, do you think more precautions need to be taken by stores to keep customers and employees safe? Everybody said yes. What can you offer right now to people who are watching, who are afraid to go back to brick and mortar stores? What encouraging words could you offer potential customers just to help let them know, like, hey, I totally understand?
I totally understand. I'm one of those people who's overly cautious when it comes to these things. And the appointment only is a private shopping experience. You can be by yourself, or you can bring up to 2 other people. I'm only going to be allowing 3 people at a time. I'm sanitizing everything that is touched, like right after it's been touched, whether it's the door or the processing systems, credit card, or Apple Pay systems. And I'm sanitizing the clothes, I'm steaming it. Every little thing that we can do to make you feel secure. We'll be wearing our mask the whole time, and we will have to enforce that you wear it as well for our protection. Unfortunately, shopping right now, there are rules in place, and some people are forgiving, some are not, at least, but I think with smaller businesses, they are. I went to a store the other day and they had one of those things to pull out the door with your foot. And I was just like, yes, this is great. and it's really the small touches that I think are going to make a difference. I think one of my customers said, oh, I'm so glad that you sanitize after every person, the door handles. She said, I went to the post office or I went somewhere and they said, oh, we sanitized it this morning. It's fine. No.
Oh my God.
No. So they see it. They appreciate it.
I love that.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
I would say to all of our customers, you are going to benefit from our strong sense of self-preservation. We want to grow old, so I can guarantee you we are sanitizing everything all the time to protect ourselves, which will by default protect you. Obviously, we're offering free masks when you come in, but no pressure, no pressure to go shopping. You can come when you feel comfortable. That's it. If you don't feel comfortable, if you answered yes on that poll, you're not ready. That's fine.
Send them the online link to the store.
That's right. MyWatchGames.com.
Well, the no pressure thing is also something about shopping, because people feel, at least talking to some other people, they feel pressured to buy something when they make an appointment. And yes, that would help us. And I hope you find something that you love at Hello Tallulah. But there is no pressure for you to purchase something when you make an appointment. It's to give you a way to try things on.
That's
and to
right.
look at things in person.
And the grants and the loans, they're there so that we can make it through with decreased revenue. So no pressure. We're doing fine.
I love hearing
Yeah, and I think since the inception of Eye Candy Boutique, we've been really something that's been important to us to have the customers feel as comfortable in our environment, because we do sell plus size clothing and accessories for everybody. We want to make a safe space for our customers. And now not only like, is it an emotional safe space, but it's also like a sanitary safe place in the showroom, with the precautions that we're taking with the masks and the maximum people per appointment. So a shopping experience is supposed to be fun. So if people are going to come in with some kind of reticent attitude, I would rather them shop online or ask me questions. And I'm trying to I think the important thing is like meeting people where they are. So if you're not ready to come into the showroom, let's do a virtual appointment in the showroom, which I just started offering as well, to where we can like FaceTime or do a Zoom meeting or Instagram, whatever. And so where you can still see the pieces. Of course, you won't be able to try them on, but it's just something, a step up from messaging on the different social media platforms. So I think just being comfortable with how you're shopping and having brands meet you where you want, how you want to shop, is going to be the new way of retail.
Yeah. And just a reminder to our attendees, we're going to get into our Q&A here in a few minutes. If you have a question, please load it in the chat. But I did want to close out on a positive note. Like I said, relentless optimist. What are your hopes for the future of your business and the future for your industry?
My industry itself, first of all, I love that there's a community. Not only is there a community for small businesses in San Antonio, but there's a community for vintage businesses. We all support each other. We all sell completely different items. Every item is unique. So there's a community there in place. And my hope is that we all survive and thrive. I recently spoke to an owner of a vintage shop in Austin who said that one of the stores had to shut down, and they're all sharing resources, trying to figure out a way for them all to survive. And there's not as many of us here in San Antonio. So although we are communicating, we aren't as powerful of a group as the Austin vintage sellers. But my hope is that we all the small businesses survive and thrive after this is all over.
Our industry, the gaming industry, is just booming right now. And with the sort of mainstream edition of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and DC and Marvel, and those things all becoming just readily available to anybody who has the internet or wants to go to a movie or read a book. It's a really good time to be a geek, because it doesn't have the stigma that it did anymore. And so because of that, because we've got a lot of new blood coming into the industry, we have a responsibility, and we take it very seriously, of making sure that what these new people experience the first time they come into a game store isn't that old stigma of just sort of a grimy cave of scary looking people that, are not very welcoming. Mm-hmm. So inclusivity is the most important thing, I think, right now in the gaming industry. And especially with recent events, man, they have both hands on that wheel and are trying to drive that car straight, mm-hmm. and make sure that we do everything right and make all the right political messages. But Night Watch Games is fortunate. We are already known for being totally inclusive. Yeah. And if inclusivity is a problem, then we might not be the game store for you. Mm-hmm. And we're okay with that we're not for everybody.
Yeah. Love that. Elsa?
Our hope is that our customers continue to be as open-minded and as willing to try new things as we are, because as we establish ourselves in this during and post COVID-19 environment. I don't think businesses could afford to stay stagnant in the way that they do business. So there are going to be times when we try new things. And if customers are willing to go along with us, that's going to be the most important thing. That is our hope.
I love that. Well, I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm just gonna keep going here for the next few minutes. Okay, so let's say you wake up, it's a Tuesday morning. I love a good Tuesday morning, right? Not just the store, but the actual Tuesday morning. And the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and all of the news is saying like, it's done. There's no more COVID-19. You can do what you want to do. What's the first thing that you're doing when this is done and over with?
As a business?
Or
Both.
yeah, as a business or a person.
Business and personal.
Okay.
Probably booking a vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom keeps being like, let's go to the beach. And she's like, you just keep to ourselves. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't know. I mean, I want to, but I'm not ready personally. And I would love to, though. I would love a vacation. And I miss New York. I miss going and shopping for vintage. So I would probably take a trip to New York.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a spa weekend in my future once all that happens. But we have a new business venture that we're working on. It's not a game store. It's called The Gauntlet, and it was definitely put on hold by all of this. We're looking for investors. We want to keep the investor pool small. It's going to be here in San Antonio, and we're also in the entertainment business. We're going to stay in the entertainment industry. And it's a cross between an escape room and a haunted house and something that you might not be familiar with, live action role play.
You have my attention.
Yes. So we are right on the cusp of opening this business, establishing this business. And then, of course, once we get that funding lined up, we wish Shark Tank was still around because we could totally blow it out of the water on Shark Tank. We have an amazing team of people working on this full time right now. And so you're going to enter a world that is medieval in theme. There's a tavern where you can have a pint of mead and eat a turkey leg and meet other adventurers who are in costume, actors that are role playing with you and speaking in this old world language. And then one of them says, hey, adventurer, you want to come help us with this quest? Of course, in a much better, I'm not an actor. So he's going to invite you in. And of course, you will have already purchased a ticket. And then you're going to enter a 7-room adventure that has Hollywood style movie sets. We're going to put real leather armor on you, put a LARP sword or bow in your hand. And instead of a normal haunted house where they say, okay, go in, have fun, but don't touch the people in the set, we're going to say, go get them, go whack them. And so that is the live action part of it. And
That's
I'm
so
missing
cool.
some major element here, but yeah, you're going to have an escape room adventure that is live action role playing at the same time.
Awesome.
That sounds so exciting. Oh my God.
I will add, as a business, the first thing I will do is throw a hello everyone or goodbye Corona sip and shop party, because I want to see all my customers. I want them to see the new items I have, and there needs to be a sip and shop party immediately.
So I found in Lavernia, Texas, there's a lady, and I'm sorry, I don't have her name right at the tip of my tongue, but she makes piñatas that are shaped like COVID-19 virus.
Oh my gosh.
And I have one out of my business, and it's filled with plastic miniatures, which is one of the things that our customers buy most from us. And I am just so ready to beat the what out of that thing. But again, my empath husband is saying, not yet. Let's not make light of it just yet. We can't do that yet. That might come across as insensitive. I'm like, ooh.
That's
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So we're ready. We're gonna have a pinata party and beat the you know what out of COVID.
I really think the city, it'll be like when the Spurs win, like everybody's going to be
Yeah.
like,
yeah. They'll move up Fiesta. Doesn't matter what month it is.
it'll be a national holiday, I'm sure. Elsa, what about you?
I cannot wait to be able to have open houses again with like no appointment needed. So that way people can come together, kind of like what Kristina's saying, just having an event where people can come and celebrate and see the new stuff and be together as a community. That's something that is definitely missing in our little showroom. But the other thing that I miss a lot is just San Antonio has so many cool local events that happen with the community coming together. So whether it be like Second Thursday at the McNay or the events that the Botanical Garden puts on, or just sitting outside with live music, that is the stuff I miss the most. Being able to like run into your friends at some event in some part of downtown San Antonio. So I miss that type of environment. Yeah.
I can't wait. We're all getting pinatas. You get a pinata. You get a. We're all getting COVID-19 pinatas. So will y'all, as we close, will you let everybody know where they can find you online on social?
So hi, my shop is called Hello Tallulah, as you already know, and it is right next to the Woodlawn Theater, 1912 Fredericksburg Road. And all the information that you need is on hellotallulah.com. But I post the most updated news, the most updated newest items, vintage items, jewelry, accessories on Instagram, hello_Tallulah, TALLULAH. I'm also on Facebook and Pinterest and Yelp and Twitter. So yeah, please look me up.
You can also find us across all of the mainstream media platforms. It's important to put a K in front of the night, KNIGHT, nightwatchgames.com.
And you can find Eye Candy Boutique on Instagram and Facebook at Hey Eye Candy. It's HEYEYECANDY. And then the website is heyeyecandy.com. So it's the same Hey Eye Candy throughout the different platforms. And we look forward to hearing from y'all soon.
Appointments are open.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable. Is there anything that y'all want to add to close out? Anything that you want to say? Shout out?
Everyone stay safe. We love you. And if you don't feel comfortable, don't make an appointment. You can buy online. If you do feel comfortable, please do make appointments. I'm dying to see you. I'm very excited. And you can try on as much as you want.
I would just like to say thank you to this platform for letting us come on. Thank you to the Lift Fund and everybody that donates to that fund so that they can help small businesses. And I think the message I would want to leave to empower women, to empower business owners, knowledge is power. You've got to educate yourself at the regarding the things that are available to you as a business. Every single thing that we have applied for, we received, which is why we're in a better situation now than we were before. So even if you think you're not going to get approved, please, please apply. And if you don't know what is available to you, give me a call. Call the store and I will talk you through it and help you with it.
That's awesome. I consider myself so lucky to be a business owner in San Antonio because I feel like we have so many resources that we get to use. So even before I started, when I was just doing market research and researching everything, I would do webinars or workshops from different places here in San Antonio. So whether it be through Launch SA in the downtown library, or once I was established, I was a part of the Women's Business Accelerator program with Jordan through the Women's Business Center. And then I also, Leisha was my business advisor through the Small Business Development Center as well. So we're so lucky to be female business owners in San Antonio, in Texas, because I believe Texas is the top 5 places for women entrepreneurs. Anyways, use your resources on what you have. Like Brenda was saying, educate yourself, even if it's a webinar. You can never know too much, especially if it's in the beginning stages.
And that's so true. And to close, I just really want all of our attendees to realize this. Like Elsa said, we are so blessed and so lucky to be in San Antonio with the number of resources that are available to us as business owners. There are so many people that want to help you build your business, that want to help you start your business. Please reach out to Launch SA. They have a wonderful slate of events for the rest of this week with San Antonio Entrepreneurship Week. Please reach out to the Small Business Development Center out of the UTSA downtown campus. And then, of course, Lift Funds Women's Business Center has so many resources, webinars, and seminars on how you can get access to capital and grants, especially right now. Our city is resilient. I'm so proud of our city. I'm so proud of all of y'all. And I'm glad to hear that you are doing well. Thank you for spending your morning with me and letting me ask you questions. You to death. I'm sorry. I love you, Neil. But I just want to say thank you to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And I can't wait till we have our COVID-19 piñata party.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.